Thanks for tuning into another episode of Quik Reaction TV. If you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for new releases. We've got a wild one today. Let's get to it, quick.
True story about the real Men in Black. Watch this.
The real Men in Black, they worked for the Air Force Special Operations Group out of Fort Belvoir, and they are the real Men in Black. These are special intelligence officers, specially trained. In fact, there's a special unit within the Air Force Intelligence Service. It's called Section K, and these men and women are sheep-dipped. And sheep-dipped means that they're military, they discharge them from the military, they make them civilians, and they bring them right back into their same job. The reason they do this is because they don't have to follow the military protocols, the dress and grooming standards, and they can operate freely, more freely, outside the military channels.
Tell us a little about their history and how they first appeared.
Back in the 1950s, when the Project Blue Book was occurring, there was investigations going on both overtly and covertly within the intelligence service. Most of the overt investigations were done by Air Force intelligence officers, one of them being my uncle, Edward Doty. And they would go out and ask questions, collecting overt information about UFO sightings. And then there was a secretive part of the Air Force Intelligence Service. The Air Force Intelligence Service had field operating units, and they started in the 50s, and they're even more prevalent even today.
What was their main agenda, and who they actually, work for, or was it multiple three-letter agencies?
Their mission was to go out and collect the secret stuff, the secret information about UFO sightings or a UFO incident that occurred, to collect photographs or debris, or get statements from people, examine the area where a UFO was sighted or landed, collecting evidence that's on the ground. And this was all covertly. So in order to covertly collect, they had to have disguises. And these guys were experts in disguises. Some of them were acting as plumbers, air conditioning repair people, telephone repair people, outside a normal chain.
The Paranormal Chick here. Take a look at this viral video. This was actually captured by a reporter from TMZ. And the reason why it's broke the internet is because this is a building in New York City that has no windows. And people have no idea what it's used for. I kind of have an idea. Could this be the headquarters for MIB? Take a look and tell me what you think this building is for.
The Men in Black are real. For decades, people have reported encountering these strange men after they witness a UFO. In many cases, they show up at witnesses' houses in vintage black cars to ask bizarre and intimidating questions. There's also something strange about them, as they appear to void facial features, or are often sickly pale, and act almost robotic with their movements. It's said that these are either government agents or aliens trying to cover up UFO activity. That is why many believe.
I was watching the first Men in Black again when I heard this.
For the most part, don't have a clue. They don't want one or need one either. They're happy. They think they have a good bead on things.
Well, why the big secret? People are smart. They can handle it.
The person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it. 1,500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was the center of the universe. 500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was flat. And
The
15
Earth
minutes
was
ago,
what?
you knew that people were alone on this planet. Imagine what you know tomorrow.
Stop. What do you mean by that?
The term Men in Black often conjures thoughts of the sci-fi movie franchise starring Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. But behind the silver screen lies a much darker story that goes beyond the realms of Hollywood. The legend of the Men in Black originated in the mid-20th century, amidst a flurry of UFO sightings and flying saucer phenomena. These figures, clad in black suits and sunglasses, seemingly appeared after UFO sightings or extraterrestrial encounters, compelling witnesses to keep silent about their experiences. Their presence is marked by consistent traits: eerie pale skin, emotionless demeanor, and an ability to seemingly appear and disappear without warning. They would approach witnesses in an intimidating manner, demanding details of their experiences while radiating an aggressive aura of authority. Their vehicle of choice are usually black sedans, Buicks, Lincolns, or Cadillacs, often with untraceable government license plates. Witnesses attest to their perplexing behaviors, from confusion over everyday objects such as pens and food to the use of outdated slang, and that their behavior would change rapidly, from extreme secrecy to manic grins and laughter. Some researchers believe the Men in Black are in fact aliens themselves, set out to cover up any traces of alien activity on Earth, whilst others believe they are a secretive office of the U.S. Air Force. Whoever they are, the hundreds of bizarre encounters with the Men in Black over the past 80 years is an intriguing and genuine phenomenon, adding credibility that our governments are involved in preventing the disclosure of extraterrestrial activity on Earth.
Real-life Men in Black show up to question men in hotel.
Sovar reported that the witnesses described the men as tall with black suits, black hats, identical faces, extremely pale skin, no eyebrows, no eyelashes, and abnormally large eyes.
Time traveler caught on video. Alien mothership caught on Nest Cam. Shapeshifter caught on news.
Who has lived an extremely difficult life. I learned to live each day to its fullest. Doing any kind of missionary work, I find.
Lady glitches on TV show.
And I deal with your emotions over here. But when it comes time for business, I implement what you told me on the emotion side into handling it in a professional manner. Because sometimes it's hard for you to...
This makes no fucking sense.
Alright guys, more creepy conspiracy stuff regarding this woman getting hypnotized by a supposed alien.
And it reminded me of what Raymond Fowler, author of The Watchers, with abductee Betty Andreessen, wrote in 1990, quote, "Whoever controls the UFO phenomenon is intimately connected with the afterlife of human beings and the reincarnation of souls," close quote. Linda Porter also wrote me, quote, "The people who live on the earth now in 1992, when I was interviewing her, those are the people who will survive the changes coming. They will be evolving into a new species of being. That was why the alien visitors came here to begin with." She added, quote, "As humanity does evolve into this new life form, and it will, there is no way the government can stop this process, even though it would like to. The future is something so incredibly different from what human life is now." She continued, quote, The dark side seems to be a part of creation that has been at war with itself since the beginning of all that is. How or why the dark light split, I don't know. But ever since the two sides split apart, they have been creating beings with which to fight one another throughout all existence, not just on this planet Earth, but on all the other planets too. According to intel and military sources, Earth is a battleground between hostile tronoloid insects and reptilians on one side versus the tall whites, Nordics, Ebens, and perhaps ancient tall grays on the other side.
Men in Black don't want you to know. In particular, since the mid-20th century, people all over the world have recounted experiences of unexplainable phenomena, things they allegedly have seen, heard, and felt, whether intentionally or unintentionally witnessed. Often an authority would come, under the guise of easing their minds, and to let them know that everything was under control. Rather than offering answers, however, these men in black instead sought to sow doubt. What you saw was not what you thought it was.
Albert K. Bender. Albert Bender's encounter with the Men in Black is one of the world's most popular. He was in the US Air Force during World War II, was the founder of the International Flying Saucer Bureau, and also the editor of a small publication called the Space Review. He became obsessed with UFOs and researched tirelessly for evidence to prove their existence. In 1953, he made a series of discoveries that led him to believe that he'd finally found the truth about a serious UFO cover-up. Excited by what he had discovered, he wrote a report and intended to publish his findings in the Space Review. Until one day, he claims he was visited by 3 men dressed in black suits who warned him to stop his UFO research and threatened him with prison if he published his findings or told anyone else. Bender was so scared at how they knew of his findings and by the visit that he immediately shut down his bureau, closed his Space Review publication, and ceased all active involvement with the world of UFOs. In an interview with a local newspaper at the time, Bender said the encounter left him scared for his life and unable to sleep or eat for days after his meeting. It's been said that Bender was a changed man after the encounter. He suffered terrible headaches that would almost knock him out and refused to talk about what had happened. There was also a time when he received a strange phone call whilst alone one time. He answered, but no one was on the other end talking, but he could sense someone was definitely there. He said his head began spinning and throbbing, and he felt something telling him that he should stop messing around and researching UFOs. He then heard a strange humming sound before the call ended. A few years later, in 1963, Albert spoke more about his encounter with what he called the Silencers in a book called Flying Saucers and 3 Men in Black. But the details of what he revealed were vague, and the book was regarded as strange and unreadable. That revealed very little in the way of credible facts, much different from his intelligent publications before his encounter. It did show and start the theories, though, that some Men in Black could actually be extraterrestrials. It seems that if Bender did indeed have an encounter with those 3 men, they sure did keep him quiet and had a serious effect on him. He refused to discuss flying saucers with anyone, and those who knew him said he just wasn't the same man. Albert K. Bender took most of his secrets to his grave when he passed away in 2002.
Oh, man. Damn.
It's almost midnight on May 1st when a Las Vegas Metro Police officer's body cam catches this.
Alright, you guys have heard about the recent UFO sightings in Las Vegas. Apparently, many believe that the Men in Black were involved in regards with covering it up. But who are these mysterious government agents, and what do they have to do with extraterrestrial activity? In this video, we're going to look over the news and see what's really going on, and see if the Men in Black have their connections to the UFO sightings.
Officers meeting up with the caller and his family.
What'd you see?
It was like a
It was like a big creature.
A big creature?
Yeah, like around 10 feet tall.
I'm not going to BS you guys. One of my partners said they saw something fall out of the sky too, so that's why I'm kind of curious. Did you see anything land in your backyard, or?
They see like a big, that's what they say. They see like a big something with light.
What I saw right now, I do believe in it.
Police walk into the backyard to investigate, but Metro blacked out that part of the video because it's considered private property. What's clear, they're taking this call seriously.
Hey, this might sound like a really dumb question, but did you guys see anything fall out of the sky?
Asking others what they saw.
I would normally discount it as nothing. However, seeing as one of my partners said they saw it too, only reason I'm actually investigating it further.
That investigation turning up no concrete answers as of Wednesday. Whatever or whoever fell into that yard, long gone within minutes.
Oh, hey. If those 9-foot beings come back, don't call us, all right? Deal with it yourself. I ain't dealing with that.
Talked before, we didn't know a bunch of this other stuff, like the broken leg that was hanging in an awkward position and the eyelashes, and we took video, yet no one has seen the video. This business about police coming to the house afterwards with details like 2 sergeants, a couple of investigators asking to set up cameras, and then the cops say, no, we never did go back.
It is one of the most bizarre cases, not the most bizarre that I've investigated. You summarize it very well. It starts out with some corroborating evidence. You have a 911 call. You have police taking the family seriously. In fact, I think they would still tell you today that most of them felt they were telling the truth. They seemed legitimately frightened. But when you start digging into it, they start to have some inconsistencies. They told George Knapp, local Vegas reporter, that they had video, which you said, of course, was never mentioned in the beginning. The footprints, you don't think to take, photos of those, and it starts to kind of unravel, and then all of a sudden the family stops responding. Now, the media has descended, they found the location, they're, I'm sure, getting bombarded, and it's natural, maybe you'd want to go into hiding, but at this point you'd also hope they'd want to just kind of clear the air once and for all. It's very odd because we've looked at it every angle we possibly can, except for maybe doing voice stress analysis. When you played the 911 tape, I was thinking maybe we should do that too.
I'm a little disconcerted with the family said police.
So apparently police came through and set up cameras at these people's houses. They were reported missing, and then now they're back on lockdown, according to this one right here.
The family said police came a couple days later and did this whole investigation, and the Metro Vegas police have said, no, we didn't. Can you tell me if you've investigated or reported on or witnessed any other incidents of these strange, X-Files-like incidents where people arrive to investigate that apparently don't exist?
I do think that's kind of, more in the realm of conspiracy. However, they had photos supposedly, and they released photos of the police being there. That should be easy to verify, but our sources are telling us nothing officially. No one officially went out to follow up. And so if it's not them, and they're seeing these SUVs driving around blacked out, it could be other people, media, onlookers, just trying to figure out what's happened. But I would say it's a very unlikely situation that we have a shadow agency there.
Mark Berry is a retired Las Vegas Metro Police officer who's also been working with Ben on investigating this case. So, Mark, you're the perfect person to ask about this piece that involves the so-called, Metro Vegas Police going to the house days after this crash. A couple of sergeants, a couple of investigators, the family reports, and they didn't exist. The Metro Police are saying we didn't. Do we believe the Metro Police when they say they didn't? Or do we think that somebody did show up dressed as them?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Metro's a great organization. Their officers are some of the most finely trained officers in the world. And, they handled it, in my book, they pretty much did what they could as patrol officers. The fact that the family said some sergeants came in afterwards and put up cameras, that's not protocol in any kind of unit within the department. We're not going to do that. Basically, when you show up on scene, once you gain that real estate, you're not going to give it up. So if you need to call in, they're there to look and get to the bottom of it as fast as they can. And they did go out back. They did see some, I guess you could call it evidence, but, I also have dove into this a little bit besides talking to the officers involved. I used some of my air assets and were able to look out in the back of the yard and see the circular impressions that they were talking about. And in that backyard, there's a number of trailers, a number of flatbeds, And the circular impressions are very indicative.
You also spent some time staked out. Like, you staked out to see if you could get a read on this family. The family has ghosted everybody. They're not responding to interviewers that they made appointments with. They're not responding to telephone calls. I don't even know if they're in the house anymore. But what was your read when you were parked out front for hours and hours?
Yeah, so I'll admit, I drive a black SUV.
Okay, there you go. We can explain the black SUVs away now.
I do not wear black government-issued sunglasses, so there's a little difference there. I have talked to some of the neighbors. I have been able to confirm noise, the big giant boom that the Ring camera had caught at one part of the valley. But there's some more issues with the backyard. Again, I don't want to discount what they're saying, but the house has been dark. There has been no movement in and out other than onlookers going, by the house real slow, taking pictures. As far as movement in the house itself or in the rear, the backyard, or even in the trailers, it's been dark. And it's been dark for the last few days. So I'm sure that they may have left town. But, I don't know. They may just be laying low.
And Mark, I'll tell you, there's a perfectly good explanation. They're freaking out over all this attention, and so they am sprayed, or, as others would say, they've been taken by the government and they're being hidden away and interrogated. I mean, this is what the internet's lighting up about.
But the police are saying that they never went back to the house and never set up any cameras. So if the police didn't set any cameras up, but the family saying police did come through and set up the cameras, it seems like this is another classic case of the Men in Black. Not the movies, but the real Men in Black. The real life government agents who work in secret to keep any data related to alien encounters and UFOs under wraps from the general public. I honestly think they cover anything paranormal. But there are many tales of sightings of these agents and people who claim to have had direct contact with them in the past. It suggests that these individuals are portrayed similarly to government agents. Dating back to 1947, in Maury Island, Washington, Harold Dahl and Fred Kurtzman, two fishermen, reported seeing 6 flying saucers dropping molten waste into a lake. Afterward, Dahl was visited by a mysterious man dressed in black, who warned him not to speak about the incident. That's the Men in Black. Air Force agents collected information about the sighting. Dahl later claimed that its initial denial of the incident was made under pressure. Of course, don't speak about it, don't talk about it.
You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
Bridgeport, Connecticut, 1953. Albert K. Bender, the nation's top UFO investigator, receives a threatening visit that will bring his research to an abrupt and premature halt.
Albert K. Bender founded the International Flying Saucer Bureau. This was during the big UFO flap of 1952, when flying saucers were witnessed over Washington, D.C. and many other areas around the world. And this organization blew up big within that first year. However, just a year later, he suddenly ended the International Flying Saucer Bureau, and people wondered why. And what happened was that he came home one night, went into his bedroom, and suddenly these 3 dark, shadowy figures materialized his wall into his bedroom. They were wearing the hats and the overcoats. They had glowing eyes and they smelled like sulfur.
According to Bender, the 3 entities communicated with him through telepathy, warning him to discontinue his UFO research and stop publishing his influential magazine, The Space Review. Afterwards, he became ill and didn't eat for 3 days.
After this experience, Bender was repeatedly visited. He said they gave him headaches, they controlled him telepathically, and he ultimately gave up his UFO researches and stopped publishing the Space Review, in which he documented UFO sightings throughout the world.
The visitors Albert Bender encountered matched descriptions of what is today known as the Hat Man, but he called them by another name, the Men in Black. While the Men in Black are often portrayed in pop culture as government agents, many who claim to have encountered them believe they are something other than human.
they talk to UFO witnesses. Some people have reported they seem to not know things that are common, like, you know, which end of a pen to use, or if they're offered something to eat or drink, they don't know how to eat or drink it.
There's a theory that the Hat Man and the Men in Black are actually the ringleaders of the Shadow People, and that in fact they direct the Shadow People to influence humans in particular to keep them from investigating UFO experiences.
And this is originally where the Men in Black came from. This is the whole thing behind that. And this was back when supposedly everything had taken place in Washington, D.C. They had seen UFOs, and we're talking about multiple UFOs over the White House. And it was even in the newspaper and then swept under the rug, just like the Roswell deal. Swept under the rug in the 50s, and then the treaty and all this kind of stuff. And the Men in Black were thought not to even be human in some stories. They're thought to be, you know, hear about the government being the Men in Black, and then you've seen the movie, The Men in Black, and you think of it being like regular humans, and then you hear the smell of sulfur, and it makes you think of demonic activity, and he talks of shadow people. Well, personally, I've had encounters with things that materialize through surfaces and through solid, you know, matter, and materialized through that, and appeared to me. And I've seen things now, not the Men in Black, but some other things. And with that being said, the Men in Black definitely might be some type of interdimensional being, and if they're telepathically communicating with people, then I mean they could be extraterrestrial. That's the reason I say in a lot of my other videos that a lot of these things go hand in hand, and they're the same thing. You think of the paranormal and ghosts and demons and demonic activity and things like that, and you separate that from aliens and all this kind of stuff, but in actuality it's just really high-tech technology, and that's what it is. I mean, you know, back in the day, you would have never saw the technology we have now. You couldn't have imagined having the things that we have as advanced as it is, and it's the same with this. The things we have always called magic, always called sorcery, really is just high-tech technology so far advanced past us, we call it magic.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you,
we don't care.